Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to this community solar information session. Great to see everyone. I appreciate you being here on such a nice day. So my name is Brad Pillen from the City of Cambridge, joined by Natalie Reeder of All in Energy, Sam Guharian from Energy Sage, and Grace Evans from Sunwealth. In addition to hearing from me today, you'll also hear from Sam and Grace about how you can work with Energy Sage and Sunwealth to sign up for a community solar project. Natalie from All in Energy will be helping to respond to questions throughout the presentation and at the end. A few housekeeping things before we get started. This presentation is being recorded and will be shared to the City of Cambridge YouTube page in the coming days. Also, this presentation is being captioned in real time. If you'd like to see captions, you can use the toolbar on your screen to turn on closed captions. You can also click the link that is being added to the chat to view closed captions in a separate window. If you do not see a closed captions option, you can click, if you don't see it on the toolbar, you can click on the three buttons on your toolbar and you should see an option for captions there. So I'm sure we will have questions, so we will make time to answer any questions that we have at the end of the presentation. You're welcome to submit a question at any time using the Q&A button on your toolbar. Natalie or one of the other presenters may answer it during the presentation, or we may respond to it at the end. At the end of the presentation, you'll also be able to raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question live. Note that everyone is muted, so in order to ask a question live, you will have to raise your hand or ask to come off mute, and then I'll be able to unmute you and you can ask your question that way, or ask your question that way. And actually, I do want to double check before we move on. Natalie, can you confirm, have you seen something saying that we are recording? You did, Grace?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
I can confirm we are recording.
Okay, great, thank you. So let's start with what community solar is. Community solar is a subscription that you enroll in, which supports the development of solar energy projects and then provides you with a discount on your electricity bill. We'll talk more about the details of how this works during the rest of the presentation. So community solar members support the development of large installations of solar panels, which are also commonly referred to as solar farms. So just an example, if you've ever driven down the highway and you've seen a large field of solar panels, this may have been an example of a community solar project or a solar farm. The electricity that's generated by a community solar project is then sold back into the grid, and members of community solar project then receive a discount in the total amount that they pay for electricity. This is due to receiving net metering credits from the electricity that's generated by the community solar project being sold back to the grid. Grace and Sam will go into more detail about this, but it's important to know that when you're enrolled in community solar, that you receive two bills instead of one. One will come from Eversource, and it will be significantly discounted from what it would normally be, and the other will come from the community solar project that you're a member of. Both of these bills combined will still be less than the amount that you would pay if you were not enrolled in community solar. Again, Grace and Sam will share more details about why this is and how it works coming up. So here's some helpful things to know if you're interested in joining a community solar project. So first of all, community solar does not involve putting solar panels on your roof or on your property. As I said a few moments ago, community solar can be thought of as a subscription, which supports the development of large-scale solar panel installations that occur off-site, meaning not on your home or your property. Again, as an example, you can think of that large field of solar panels off the highway when you think of community solar, not solar panels on the roof of your home. Anyone that pays an electricity account can join or subscribe to a community solar project, as long as that project is accepting new members. And the result for you as a member is that you will save money on your electric bill, and more renewable energy gets added to the electric grid. So I've already said this, but this is probably the biggest misconception that people have when they hear the term community solar. So I just want to reiterate again that signing up for community solar does not involve putting solar panels on your roof or on your property. So let's talk a little bit about community solar eligibility. Any residential electricity account holder is eligible to sign up for community solar. So this includes single-family homeowners, condo owners, and renters. If you pay an electricity bill, you're able to sign up for community solar as long as there are projects enrolling new members. I'd also like to emphasize that you can participate in community solar while also being enrolled in the Cambridge Community Electricity Program, which is the default electricity program for all electricity accounts in Cambridge, or while taking advantage of income-based energy discount programs, such as if you receive the R2 or the R4 rate on your electricity bill. There's two main benefits and reasons to join a community solar project. The first is that it saves you money. You can expect to save between about 5 to 17% on your electricity costs. The exact amount can vary based on the project and your income level, as there are added incentives for customers who meet certain income criteria. Similarly, solar is a great tool for saving money, but the benefits of taking advantage of rooftop solar is difficult for many Cambridge residents who might live in a large multifamily building or might be renters. So community solar is a tool for anyone who pays an electricity bill to be able to take advantage of savings that are made possible by solar energy. The second benefit is that community solar supports the development of clean and renewable energy sources, adds renewable energy to the electric grid, and reduces the use of fossil fuels like natural gas to produce electricity. One detail to be aware of when you're enrolled in community solar is that you are not considered the user of that renewable energy. So rather, you are supporting the development of renewable energy and adding it to the electric grid, but someone else is claiming the use of it. So when you're enrolled in community solar, you're not using the solar energy. The benefits to you are primarily financial, and that you're saving money, and also that you're supporting the development of these renewable energy projects on the whole. However, if you do want to use renewable energy, you're able to do so through the Cambridge Community Electricity Program. So the Cambridge Community Electricity Program, I'll just talk about this briefly, is the default or automatic electricity program that all Cambridge electricity accounts are enrolled in when they're opened. So unless you've taken action to opt out, you are enrolled in this program. All electricity accounts are automatically enrolled in the program, in a program option that provides 50% of electricity from renewable sources. However, you're also able to opt up to what's called 100% Green Plus, and that provides all electricity from renewable sources. Future savings can't be guaranteed because electricity prices do change, but currently the 100% Green Plus option is less expensive than Eversource Basic service. So opting up to 100% Green Plus is a great way to use all renewable energy while still paying less than the current Eversource Basic service rate. You can then save even more money by enrolling in a community solar project. If you're unsure if you're enrolled in the Cambridge Community Electricity Program, you can first check for that by looking at the electricity supplier on your bill. If the supplier is listed as Cambridge Com Direct Energy, then you're enrolled. If you want to see if you're currently receiving 100% renewable energy, or you would like to opt up to do so, you can call the number on the screen, 844-379-9934, or you can visit cambridgema.gov/enrollccv. So transitioning back to community solar, we have two partner organizations that are here to share some more information. So Energy Sage is a Boston-based rooftop and community solar marketplace that helps you compare and sign up for community solar projects. And SunWealth is a Cambridge-based clean energy and community solar provider that specializes in low-income community solar. Depending on your income level and where you live, it may make sense to follow up with either Energy Sage or SunWealth following the presentation if you are interested in signing up for community solar. Energy Sage is a marketplace that will share information about all community solar projects available to Cambridge residents. SunWealth, on the other hand, offers a more specific offering to those who meet certain income eligibility criteria or residents who live in certain environmental justice census tracts. You'll hear from both organizations to learn more about what they offer, for who, and how to follow up to learn more or join a community solar project. So with that said, I would like to pass it over to Sam from Energy Sage.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad. And yeah, thank you for everyone for tuning in today. It's really great to be able to talk with you all about Energy Sage, who we are really, what we do and what we can offer for, anyone that's interested in community solar. Just a quick background about myself. I've been an energy advisor with Energy Sage for about 3 years now. And my role as an energy advisor really is to, talk to customers and anyone that's interested in things like community solar, to kind of help them through the process and answer questions as you're going through your options. So yeah, and I'll get into more of, what's involved in that role and the other services that we offer as well here too later in the presentation. So yeah, just a little background on Energy Sage. Who are we? What do we do in the big picture here? So Energy Sage is an online marketplace. Like Brad said, we're based in Boston. We have a couple different marketplaces that we do. So primarily, we had actually done rooftop solar. So we work with different solar installers in 41 states right now to help get people quotes for rooftop solar installations to compare and contrast, online without a high pressure sales environment. But one of the other, things that we also offer now too is community solar. So in a similar way, you can go online and compare different projects that are in your area. We are always free to use. We are, a company that was started with some funding from like the Department of Energy, and we're still backed by them as well as a lot of other partnerships with utilities and government agencies, to just bring more transparency to the consumer market for solar, for community solar. We also do heat pumps as well too, and we now have an EV charger market too if you're looking for those options. So we really want to be a source of also information for anyone that's looking into home electrification. So as a place to start where you can get unbiased advice and feel like you can make an informed decision if you're considering moving forward with any one of those. Yeah, so a little about our, what is the community solar customer experience? When you sign up to a farm, you'll receive bill credits, and those credits are going to reduce your annual electricity cost. We see usually 5 to 15% on average. Those can be higher for low to moderate income projects as well too. And, like Brad said, I mean, the great thing about community solar is that you don't have to change anything about the way that you're physically getting power right now. There's no installation that needs to be done to your home. There's no change in your connection to the grid that needs to be made, no meter that needs to be installed, nothing like that. It's really, a subscription where you're signing up to purchase these credits that the solar farm, which already exists, is producing. And I love talking to people about it when they're interested in looking at it, especially because, like myself, I'm a renter for a lot of people in the Boston area. Rooftop solar may not be an option. So it's a great way to still get involved with renewable energy, support more of that on the grid and, save some money on your electricity bills without having to make that commitment. It's free to sign up, so there's no like annual fee or anything like that. No one-time fee to get on a project. And you can cancel at any time. So it's also another thing I really like about, community solar as well too, is that flexibility, that you're not locked into any long-term contract there. Yeah, and so to come back to a little bit of the billing, here in Massachusetts, we do a dual bill system. So you'll continue to get, your utility bill from your current grid provider. And then you'll also get the bill from your community solar farm when you go through the sign-up process. And so that will, give you a sense of what electricity you're using, and you'll see those bill credits being applied to your electricity bill there. The way that you pay for electricity might change a little bit. So one of the things that can be a little unique about community solar is the seasonality of billing. And, when I say that, a lot of people already experience seasonality maybe in the way that you pay for electricity right now. If you're using electric heat during the winter, you may see a big spike in your winter, electricity bills, that may go down in the summer, if you're not running the AC that much. With Community solar, it's a little different because you're paying for those credits as the farm generates them, not necessarily as you're using them. So when you sign up to a project, you'll be allocated a number of credits based on your previous, historical usage of electricity for the year. And then as the farm is creating those credits, you'll pay for them. So of course that's going to be primarily, during the summer where you're going to see a spike in production with solar with, more sunlight hours, longer days. But conversely, the cost will be lower in the winter, of course, when that solar production is less. So over the course of the year, in totality, that's when you'll be saving 5 to 15% on your electricity bills because those credits are always discounted against whatever you're currently paying per kilowatt hour from your utility. So yeah, this is an example of what it would look like if you go to Energy Sage and check out some of the community solar farm projects that are in your area. We want to make it really easy to see what's available to you. When you sign up, all you have to do before you sign up, even just to see what's available around you, you don't have to commit to giving us any information. You just enter your zip code to see what you're eligible for. It may ask you, what utility provider you're using in terms of what grid you're on, and then it will show you all of these projects here. So it's a great way to compare. As you can see the developers. A lot of information at a glance about, what your estimated bill savings are. And there's a slider so you can enter in, your own average monthly utility bill. And if you click details on these projects, you can see more about, how they might do billing and, what the actual percent credit that they're giving you is, whether it's 5, 10, 15%, anywhere in there. And of course, we also flag different projects that maybe, income criteria based, or some may have a sign up bonus for you too. So there's a lot of great info there, so that you can really, kind of shop around. And if you find a project that, seems like a good fit for you, you can start the sign up process right there. And I know Sunwealth is on Energy Sage as well, so they'll probably be available to you if you go check it out. But you can click get started, and that'll give you a couple questions just to get a sense of what your electricity use is, and then we will connect you with the community solar provider there. Yeah, so the energy advisor support, again, that's my role primarily at Energy Sage here. I think it's another kind of unique thing that Energy Sage offers. Every person that goes on Energy Sage, whether it's rooftop solar or community solar, when you make an account, you get a dedicated energy advisor assigned to that account. And with community solar, you can even reach out to that advisor without having to create any account. Just on the page, you'll have a link that will allow you to schedule time with one of our advisors. We're always completely free to use and consult, whether you want to do a phone call or ask us questions over email. But our job is, exactly to just, advise you on next steps in the process, help you go over your options, see what project might be a good fit for you, and, also help clarify if you're still questioned about how this works and what exactly it entails. We can kind of walk you through that as well too. And I think the other nice thing about, our role as an advisor is that we also stay with you, into the future as well too. So when you, click or subscribe to a farm through Energy Sage, you still maintain that support with your energy advisor. So if you ever have questions in the future, you always have an independent, third party to reach out to, and we can help coordinate with your provider and then just answer any, questions you might have as well. Awesome. So I really appreciate you guys having me here, and let me tell you a little bit about what Energy Sage does. This is a QR code to our Energy Sage homepage. So if you scan that, if you're interested, that'll take you to our Energy Sage page. Again, primarily it'll land on, I think, rooftop solar. You'll see a community solar option there though as well. So just click on that. Like I said, all you have to do is put in your zip code, and it'll pull up all the projects that you have available.
Thank you, Sam. And to clarify, I think the QR code that's there will bring people to the Cambridge specific page on the Energy Page website. So it's made specifically for Cambridge residents, and you can just put in your exact zip code and you can see either rooftop or community solar options. And as Sam said, get connected with all the different things that they offer. So community solar, but they do a lot more than that. So if you're interested in other things as well, by all means, you can get started there. Thank you, Sam. Okay, so again, thank you, Sam, from Energy Sage. And Next, we have Grace Evans from Sunwealth. So Grace, I'll pass it over to you.
Hello. So like Brad said, my name is Grace, and I may have already chatted with some people who have submitted some of our interest forms, but you're always welcome to follow up with me at the email and phone number that's listed at the bottom of this slide. So just communitysolar@sunwealth.com or 617-520-4033. We had Sam just walk us through some of the basics of what community solar is and what Energy Sage is, and now I'll chat a bit about Sunwealth specifically. So Sunwealth is a community solar provider, and we have been in Cambridge for about the last 10 years. We specialize in low to moderate income community solar, so I'll briefly chat about what those income qualifications are. But that allows us to offer a higher discount rate. So the project we're filling up for right now has a 20% discount on all credits. Additionally, we have been recognized by the Department of Energy for the last 2 years for our projects and delivering meaningful benefits. So we definitely love being a Cambridge-based business and work with a lot of local organizations. Touching into that a little bit more, we really value our relationships, and kind of like Sam mentions, we want to avoid any kind of stressful sales tactics. So we work primarily with municipalities like the City of Cambridge, housing authorities, and nonprofits and housing providers. So we'll do a lot of our program and education and outreach with some of the organizations that are listed on the slide. And we also work with additional groups throughout the state of Massachusetts. Awesome. So the next 2 slides, I'll talk about what are the 2 ways that people can qualify for our programs. And so the first thing we look for when we ask somebody to send us a copy of their recent Eversource bill is what rate they're on. So we are looking for folks who are on the R2 or the R4 discount Eversource rate. And this, you can basically apply to participate in this rate if you are already participating in any means-tested public benefit programs, such as subsidized housing, low-income heating assistance, SNAP, and there's a list of other programs that make you eligible for this rate. If you think you might apply or you're not sure, you can always reach out to Sunwealth, to me specifically, and I can walk you through that application process. What this does is this basically reduces your monthly spend by 42%. So it's a huge discount, and we would love to help you realize those savings if you think you might qualify. So on to the next slide. The second way we check to see if somebody qualifies for our program specifically is if they live in an environmental justice census tract. So I know this map is small. Natalie just sent the link into the map, and you're welcome to put your address into it to see where you fall. This is based off US Census data. And so anybody who lives in the forest green zone, kind of around Harvard Square, or the dark blue zone, you automatically qualify for our program. And this is basically just because it has high populations of folks who are living at a certain income level. I know this map is small, so if you're not sure if you might fall in that zone, you're more than welcome to submit an interest form, and we basically just check your address in this link that Natalie sent. Awesome. So once somebody is interested and they qualify for the program, I guess the first step we ask them to do is fill out our interest form, and you can find that on our website. The link will also be sent in the chat. But we have this form in English, Spanish, and Portuguese at the moment. Once somebody submits a form, we just ask for address, email, and phone. We ask them to send a recent copy of an Eversource electric bill. And that's how we can check to see what your kilowatt hour usage is and how you might qualify. Once you send that bill, Sunwealth will basically send you an email and a contract that says what your first year expected savings are and what your first year expected payments are. So you can get a snapshot of how much you might save throughout this program and how much your credits might be throughout the year to Sunwell. I'll now talk a bit about the billing. Sam's kind of touched upon this briefly already. I'll loop back to this at the end, but we do have free sign up and free cancellation. So if somebody is even just interested in getting that quote, but then they don't want to move forward, that's totally fine. If somebody wants to sign up just to test it out, you can always exit the program at any time. So now to that billing process. So once we have a full list of subscribers for a project, we will send that to Eversource. Each subscriber's name and what allocation of the project they'll receive. Once a month, Eversource will deliver those credits on your bill as a net metering credit. This will just look like a negative line item on your bill that greatly reduces the cost of your Eversource bill. This will vary month to month, but it'll be around 85% of that yearly spend. After you receive your credits from Eversource, you will then be invoiced by Sunwell for the credits at a 20% discount. We'll never charge you for anything until you've already received those credits, so you're not paying for anything upfront. Additionally, these credits roll over month to month, like Sam mentioned, so in the summer months when we're generating more electricity, you're never going to lose out on that locked-in savings. Sunwell specifically sends those invoices out on the first of the month, and then we enroll folks in autopay, and so we'll collect payment about 4 to 5 days later. So people are always welcome to reach out with billing questions or payment plans or anything like that. I know this is a small bill, but we can send a bigger example too in a follow-up email if you reach out to me. So this basically is an example of what might happen to your Eversource bill through participation in this program. So this person started out with a $200 Eversource bill, just as an example. And it's kind of small font, but as you can see in the red box, their $200 Eversource bill was reduced down to a $30 Eversource bill. This was reduced by a net metering credit of $170. The reason these numbers are the way they are is because we aim to cover about 85% of your Eversource usage. As you can see, you will then receive an invoice from Sunwell on the first of that next month for the quantity you received, so $170 worth of credit, but we only will charge you 80% of that value. So you can see the breakdown here on the right. So before this person was a member of our community solar project, their monthly Eversource bill was $200. After they joined, they had a greatly reduced Eversource bill, which was $30, and then a discounted Sunwell bill, which was $136. This resulted in a total cost of $166, which is $34 in savings. So this is just a snapshot, an example of 1 month, but this basically breaks down how you'll go from 1 bill to 2 bills, but you'll still be saving money throughout this process. I'm excited to answer any questions you guys have. You're more than welcome to reach out to the phone number in the email, and I can send, we have, a couple page frequently asked question document. But I can also mention that we have free same-day sign-up. So if somebody submits an interest form, we work our hardest to get all of that communicated the same day. We have free cancellation, like I mentioned. We don't require a credit check. There's no unexpected fees. The project that we're currently filling up for, like I mentioned, is a 20% discount, but most of our other projects are actually a 25% discount. So we definitely have a really high discount rate compared to the market rate. And I like to say we have great customer service. You will be chatting with me if you have a question. And the last thing I'll mention is the benefits of this program really are kind of passive financial savings. So people can participate in these programs for years, and that savings number will just add up. And you're also supporting, renewable energy without having to install anything. That's all I've got. And you're more than welcome to reach out to the email on the bottom, the phone number. And if you are interested in seeing if you qualify, there is a link that I can send in the chat. I don't know if Natalie already has, where you can just submit that email, phone number, and send me a copy of a recent bill.
Awesome. Thank you, Grace. So again, I'd like to thank both Sam and Grace for sharing about how the process works, whether you connect with Energy Sage to learn about all the different programs for community solar that are available to Cambridge residents, or if you follow up with SunWealth, if you are either low-income customer or if you follow or if you live in one of the qualifying environmental justice census tracts, you can get signed up for even additional savings through the program through SunWealth. So I did see a few questions coming in the Q&A. I do just want to, before we go there, I know we had a number of people presenting and some different emails and contact information. So I'll just leave everything up here on the slide as we're going through some questions. So if you want to reach out to myself or Sam or Grace, you can do so. I'll also just say that in a general sense, if you ever have questions related to this program or anything else related to energy in Cambridge, you can always reach out to climate@cambridgema.gov. And we also have the Cambridge Energy Helpline, which is staffed by our great partners at All In Energy. You can call 617-430-6230, and they can help answer questions and connect you to all the different programs here that we offer in the city. So I know I had a few questions that came in as direct messages, so maybe I'll start there, and then Natalie, I know that there's a few in the Q&A, so we'll maybe go there next, and then if anyone has any still outstanding questions at that point, we could just invite you to raise your hand if you want to come off mute and then ask a question. So let's see, the first question, I won't say who it's from in case that the person did want to remain anonymous, but feel free if you'd like to identify yourself, you're welcome to. So the question is, I've read that solar panels, when damaged or deteriorated by hail or something else, contain materials that are not degradable or recyclable, so are therefore costly at the end of their life. Would would subscribers to this program be made responsible also for paying for getting rid of the panels at the end of their life? And so I would maybe pass it to either Sam or Grace for that if you'd like.
I can really briefly, I'm sure Sam has a lot of context on this as well. When you subscribe to a community solar array, you are not buying into ownership of that array. So you are not on the hook for any maintenance, upkeep, removal, or anything like that. So there would be no fees outside of the direct credit you receive on your bill each month. I'll also add, we recently had a presentation at my company about the end of life of solar panels. And almost everything in those panels is recyclable, and they sent me some follow-up information about those end-of-life plans. Our arrays have a lifetime of 20 to 25 years, but they actually still produce at about 80% capacity after that point. So lots of recycling in the future, especially.
Great, thank you, Grace. Another question. My electric bill has two components, supply charge and a delivery charge. Does the 5 to 15% savings apply to both components, meaning the total bill, or only one part of those, or one component of the bill? And again, either Sam or Grace, I'll happy to defer to you.
Yeah, I can jump in. I think that's going to apply to both those charges. So it's the retail rate that you're paying. So yeah, it's 15% off that, and then it's as that utility rate may increase over time, your value of your credits will also increase in tandem with that to cover the cost.
Great, thank you. And I had a few questions about if the slides will be available. So we are planning to send the recording around. We should likely be able to include the slides with that as well, if that'd be helpful. And just as a reminder, we will be posting this to the city's YouTube page as well. So you should have hopefully no issue finding a recording or finding the slides following the presentation today. Natalie, can I send it over to you to field some questions from the Q&A?
Absolutely. So the first question we have is from Robert Wolf, who asked, and that was already answered about the quote being based on generation and delivery. So that's great. And then we also had a question from Daniel saying that they have 100% renewable energy now through the city. So that's through that Cambridge Community Electricity Program that Brad mentioned. So Daniel has opted up to receive 100% renewable energy. And he wants to know, will he stay on that program and then also get a discount if he enrolls in community solar as well?
That's right. So, if you're enrolled in the city's community electricity program, there's 3 options in there. So there's standard green, 100% green plus, and economy green. So whichever those options you're enrolled in, you can stay enrolled in, and you would still be paying less when you are signed up for community solar than if you weren't. So you can absolutely still be enrolled in receiving 100% renewable electricity and still pay less if you sign up for community solar. And as I said earlier, I'll just touch on it again because it is an important point. So the city's community electricity program, all 3 of those program options are right now less expensive than the Eversource basic service price. So all electricity account holders are automatically signed up for that. You are still signed up unless you've taken action to opt out at some point, either into Eversource or a different third-party supplier. So just knowing that currently the city's prices, even for all renewable electricity, is still less expensive than Eversource, is just a great selling point to be able to pay less and to use all renewable electricity, and then even to save more money by signing up for community solar as well.
Great. Thanks, Brad. And we did have another question in the chat that Sam answered, but I'm just going to read it out because I think it's a great one to ask. Asking, who pays for and builds these solar farms?
I can quickly start by saying in each company will fundraise or depending on the structure, but so the project that we're enrolling for right now, Sunwealth financed and worked with developers to set up. It's located in Needham, Massachusetts. So it's already fully constructed, but that obviously just depends company to company.
Great, thanks, Grace. And I do see that Brian Schick has a hand raised. So Brian, if you'd like, I can ask you to unmute, and that should, oh. Okay, can you,
okay.
Yeah, we can hear you now, Brian.
Fantastic. So I'm already also a member of the 100% renewable program, and like super easy to sign up for, and really appreciate that. And I guess I'm wondering like just to understand like the incentives and like what are the cons for the different people. So like for maybe this is to Sam, like what are the I guess why would the individual investors or the investors for the solar farm just kind of pay it? Like what is the advantage to you guys to like offer it to us? And then Cambridge, like, are you kind of a go-in-between for that? Or like how, just so I understand like better why the different parties are getting involved.
Great, thanks, Brian. I'll start, and then I'm happy to defer to either to Sam or Grace just to talk about the city's role. So the city is really, as you said, Brian, like we're more of a go-between, or we're a promoter of this. It's not an active city project in the way that, for example, the Cambridge Community Electricity Program is. That is a city program. Community solar, more so we see as a great way for Cambridge residents to be able to take advantage of the financial benefits of solar and pass those savings on to residents, any residents, but particularly ones who cannot otherwise benefit from rooftop solar, which is so difficult in Cambridge with multifamily housing and so many renters. So that's just to speak to the city's role. This is both Energy Sage is a very nationally known and trusted company that is a marketplace for these products, and with Sunwealth just being a Cambridge-based company that specializes in offering to low and moderate income residents. And I will also add that the city of Cambridge has reviewed the customer agreement between Sunwealth and participants, and has basically said like, yes, this is a very favorable, like consumer-friendly agreement. So that's why the city is also comfortable promoting Sunwealth and saying that this is a trusted sort of source to go to. And I will either defer to Sam or Grace though to speak more about the incentives from the project administrators in terms of connecting people to this rather than taking all the benefits themselves, I guess.
Yeah, I can just speak as, more just what Energy Sage, how we fit into this picture here. Because in total transparency, we're a private company. And so essentially what we get is like a lead fee from a community solar farm when somebody moves forward with a project for them. But we are committed to, a level playing field and transparency, like I said there. So, we don't have, it doesn't make any difference to us, financially in terms of who consumer may be selecting as their community solar farm. And certainly, me as an advisor too, that makes no difference to me either. So we're totally agnostic there, aside from just, helping customer find the best option to fill their needs.
Yeah, and I could step in kind of with the last piece of this puzzle. So Sunwell specifically is also a private company, but we're a public benefit corporation and a B Corp. So the entire company is really mission driven to increasing access to the benefits of solar power. If anyone's interested in learning more about Sunwell specifically, you can check out our website to see our most recent impact report, which just dives into that a little bit more. And then the specifics on how we are able to offer such a high discount, free money, basically, a lot of people ask, like, is it too good to be true? And the reason we're able to do that is through state support. So we get additional tax adders based off, the location of these arrays, if they're low to moderate income arrays. And so a lot of it is through kind of state support for programs like these. Additionally, solar power is really cheap to generate. So we're able to kind of provide that discount and are always committed to trying to provide the highest discount we possibly can.
Ryan, does that answer your question?
Oh,
I'll let you, I just think I just...
Thank you. And I don't want to hog too much. So Sam, thank you. And Grace, thank you for those questions. I guess, like, how, without like me investing money, how does me signing up impact the developer of the wind farm or the solar farm? Like, why would they want to have us sign up?
So because when you join a community solar program, you are going from, one bill system just to Eversource to a 2-bill system, where you're now paying that greatly reduced bill to Eversource and then paying Sunwell, or your community solar provider, that discounted charge.
So it's like the farmer's market.
Yes, it's a lot of people compare it to community shared agriculture or CSA.
Perfect. Okay,
yeah.
that really helps.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much for that question, Brian. We have another question. They're coming in, which is awesome. Okay, so we had one question from, and apologies if I mispronounce your name, but Tunsay Gunluck, who said that they are receiving, they've signed up for community solar for a few years, which offers lower rates than Eversource or third-party suppliers. And I see here that you said you're receiving that from Cambridge Elect Direct Energy. So to clarify, you're actually signed up for 100% clean energy from the Cambridge Community Electricity Program. Cambridge Elect Direct Energy is the supplier on your bill. And so that's great. You're participating in one Cambridge program already and really supporting clean energy. Community solar is Grace, maybe looks like you unmuted.
I'll just say we don't impact your rate. So you can choose whichever supplier you would like. And then we basically offer like a blanket credit that covers that supply and delivery costs. So we're never gonna increase your rate or decrease it. We don't affect your rate. One way to check if you're not sure if you are already participating in a community solar program is to look at your bill and see if you're receiving any net metering credits as a line item. I also know the Cambridge City Energy Helpline and All in Energy do energy bill checkups. So I'd recommend you could reach out to anybody basically on this call and they could kind of help answer case-by-case questions.
Yeah, and to follow up, so if you do want to fully benefit from the program, we encourage you to sign up for community solar in addition to how you're already participating with the Cambridge Community Aggregation. And I think what Grace mentioned about calling that Cambridge Energy Helpline, we can sort of walk you through that bill if you're not sure who to go to or follow any of the other contact information. So thank you for that question. So we have another question from Robert, which is, oh, sorry. We have a question from Marianne, which says, we have 2 electric bills because 2 apartments were converted to the 1 apartment we currently live in. Can we still enroll in this program? The answer to that should be yes. You could actually enroll for both of your accounts because you're paying 2 bills. So we definitely encourage you to look into that. Thank you for asking. I see another question from Tanya, which is a great one, saying, as a Cambridge resident, do I need to pick a company to receive community solar from, or do I just sign up and the company is chosen from me? I think, Sam, you could do a great job answering that question.
Yeah, sure. So you would want to pick a company, an earlier provider or project to sign up for. So you can do SunWealth, or you can go to Energy Sage and review other options as well. But yeah, it's exactly that. So there's not like one, as far as I'm aware, like community solar option that would then connect you to a farm.
And Tanya, I would add that a lot of times not every company is enrolling at the same time. So if you go to Energy Sage, there might be just a few that you're eligible for because some might be income qualified. If you're not income qualified, you will focus on the ones that aren't, those companies with additional requirements. So it might end up that after you look through and see what you're qualified for, there might be 1 or 2 companies that you're eligible for, but Energy Sage will show all of the companies sort of in the area that you might be able to participate in, and you can go from there to see which one works.
And I'll also add to that, I did look at the Energy Sage website for community solar earlier today, and it looks like there's a few different projects, but there's only one that does not have income-based criteria. So there's a number of income eligible programs, including the program through SunWealth. But if you do not meet those income qualifications, it looks like at least right now, there's just 1 program currently accepting people to enroll in that does not have those income qualifications. When that project is full, that would close, and there would be, at some point in the future, there'll be more projects coming online. So I think, it's sort of this ongoing cycle of new projects opening up that people can enroll in. But currently, if you don't meet the income qualifications, it looks like there's just 1 that would actually be available to you if you were to do it today.
And it looks like we have 1 more question in the chat from Beth saying, I live in a senior housing building in Cambridge. Would I qualify for higher savings?
So I would, I can also follow up with you, Beth, specifically with the R2 rate and R2/R4 rate description. And so if you live in subsidized housing and can get, a 1-page document that confirms that you live in subsidized housing, you can qualify and sign up for that discounted rate. It's a very easy process, and I'd be happy to help you through that.
Great, thanks, Grace. It looks like there's no other questions in the Q&A, and I don't see any other hands raised. So I think that is probably it for today. So I really appreciate everyone who has joined and has stuck around and asked great questions. I will say again, just once more, that the recording and the slides will be available. So once we have the recording ready, we will send it out via email, and we can include the slides there as well. And then the recording will also be added to the city's YouTube page. So you can view the recording there as well. There is, again, as has been on the slide that's up for a while, there's contact information for myself, Sam, and Grace. So if you have any specific questions for one of us, feel free to just reach out to us directly. If you have any questions related to this or any other topics related to energy programs in Cambridge, anytime you can email climate@cambridgema.gov. And we also encourage you to call the Cambridge Energy Helpline, which is 617-430-6230.
And Brad, if you could just share one more time the YouTube website that people can check to see if the recording shared. I know we'll also be sending it out, but I think that would be 1 link if you have it easily available to share with folks to let them know where they can access the recording when it's posted.
Yes, let me whenever I search Cambridge YouTube, it always pulls up Cambridge, Canada.
Me too.
So let me specify Cambridge, Mass. Here we are. So I'm going to add this. Okay. Yep. Thank you for that reminder, Natalie. So that is the city's YouTube page. So this will be up there shortly. And then there's a bunch of other great information and content on there too. So feel free to peruse all the different videos that are there if you'd like to. So again, thank you to everyone for attending. Thank you, Sam, Grace, and Natalie for presenting and being here and helping out as well. I really appreciate it. And I hope that everyone has a great afternoon and you enjoy the nice weather. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.